So there's a lot that goes into keeping birds of prey, but one of the biggest draws for myself and my family when we first got involved with birds of prey was the fact you can get Harris hawks, or Harris's hawks, to essentially follow you. So naturally, this species will actually be social, and by that they'll actually live as a family unit. So they will actually sort of leapfrog each other and work as a team when it comes to hunting and flying. And you can kind of replicate that when it comes to flying a Harris hawk that you've trained. So they will leapfrog you. The initial training is quite basic. You know, you get the bird to fly, you get it to fly further, and then when it comes to following, you're essentially taking it for a walk, and the hawk will follow you to the nearest point, or ideally in front of you. And when you're doing that as just an exercise thing, it's quite basic. But when it comes to hunting, say behind me here are all these reeds, perfect place for rabbits or pheasants to hunt. So ideally, if I'm working this way down, I want the hawk to be in front of me, so that if I'm flushing something from there, I'm flushing it towards him. And it can work incredibly well. And naturally, the Harris hawks in the wild, they will do this as well. So more often than not, the smaller, more agile males, they'll do most of the legwork. They will go into cover, into bushes, hedgerows, and then flush out the quarry for hang on, bud. They'll flush out the quarry for the more powerful and stronger females to come down and catch. So whether the female's waiting above and sort of just soaring above, or if she's on a higher vantage point, a tree or a bush, and often where they're from, cacti, and they'll often stack together. So Harris hawk on the camera right now, they'll often stack together and sit on top of each other. Step up here, Pete. I'm talking too much, aren't I, bud? So they'll stand on top of each other. And as I say, with us, we can take out Peter here with Pippa, who is Will's Harris hawk, and they'll actually fly together. We have tried it with our two females, Holly and Alicia, and we're going to see how we can extend that sort of family group and see how many Harris hawks we can fly together. But as I say, Peter sees hang on. So Peter sees me as a provider of food, so he will always follow me and stay close to me. For instance, right now Peter is not the best hunter. There is a pheasant running behind us, but because we've never really taught him to hunt or shown him that pheasants equal food, he doesn't really have much interest in chasing them, which is fine, because we have other Harris hawks that are better for hunting, and we use them for hunting instead. But Peter is a perfect example of a hawk that, you know, wants to be with us and wants to follow us. But to me, as someone that started off with a Harris hawk called Oslo, it was always a desire to, you know, I can just take my hawk out for a walk. He'll follow me, exercise, might catch something. But, you know, he just wants to be with us, which is amazing. And to watch a Harris hawk do similar to how it would act naturally in the wild is amazing. When you add the family dynamic and the sort of working together into the mix, it's even more interesting. Oslo worked very well with our female Harris hawk, Holly. He was fantastic with that. But I'll never get tired of just going for a walk, enjoying this beautiful countryside. I mean, look at it, stunning. There's not a lot beats this. Just being out, exercising a bird, and enjoying the views. So one of the signals that Harris hawks will naturally do is actually communicating via body language. They don't often squawk at each other too much, especially when hunting. So they actually use their body language, and one of those indicators is their tail. So they have this magnificent white strip on the base of their tail. And this is very easy to spot from a distance. And the way they communicate using it is actually shaking their tail. So they actually shake their tail. And this is a direct communication that let's move on, let's find something else. Or if they do it very intensely, so they'll shake. So they'll shake, pause, shake. And they're kind of looking around. This is them often spotted some prey. A lot of people will also refer to Harris hawks as a beginner's bird, which I can see where they're coming from, because they're quite social. So by having that social side of things, they do train quite easily. For instance, I could probably get a fresh young Harris hawk at say 4 months old from its parents, the captive bred parents I'm referring to here, and I could probably train it to fly free within maybe 2 or 3 weeks, because I understand the birds and I know the birds and I can read the birds. It's really, really quick, because they tame down really, really fast. Obviously the first week is a bit hairy because they don't trust you and they're quite aggressive. But after that point, and you learn the bird a bit more and it learns that you're not a threat, they're quite easy to train and fly. But at the same time, having a bird that gets tame like that and gets so used to people so quick is kind of detrimental to developing and understanding birds of prey, because you know, although you're learning with the bird, it's not teaching you very much. And I would say you could make a lot of mistakes with a Harris hawk that you can't make with another species. Say if you get the weight wrong with a falcon that's very young and inexperienced, suddenly it's petrified of the world, and you'll end up with the birds spending the night out overnight, which, you know, could be life-threatening to the bird. In the same instance, if you have something like a red-tailed hawk or red-tailed buzzard, whichever way you want to refer to them, that bird, you make a mistake with them, you'll end up with holes in your hands, because they'll let you know about it and let their displeasure be known for sure. So there's pros and cons to all sorts of species, but for me in the UK, for the prey species that we generally go after, so rabbits and pheasants and squirrels for some, you really can't go wrong with a Harris hawk. They're great fun to fly. They're really suited for the species of prey that we have in the UK. And they're so diverse, so the fact you can take them out for a walk, you can go hunting with them, you can fly them as a group if the birds have been around each other and got used to each other. Obviously when they first start flying, they do sort themselves out, they'll have a scrap every now and again. They've got to sort out who's the dominant one and who's not so dominant, as it were. Peter is definitely not the dominant one. Peter is a bit of a baby when it comes to being around other hawks. But yeah, I do love Harris hawks. They'll always have a special place in my heart. Personally, I love my red kite willow, as you probably know, and I do enjoy flying the falcons. Like the thrill of seeing a peregrine or a jay or whatever species of falcon it is flying at incredible speeds over the top of heads and nicking between trees, it's amazing. But just going out for a casual stroll with Peter, love it, honestly. We get the question on the channel all the time in the comments saying, why do the birds come back? It's down to trust and food. But as you can tell with Peter, I've barely given him anything as I've been flying around. He knows the routine. He knows he's going to get dinner. He's just going to sit here. He's like, come on, we're almost home now. He knows he's going to get dinner. He knows the area. Pete, do you want to be centre of attention here? Huh? Do you want to tell them all the story? So yeah, it's all down to trust and food. If the bird doesn't trust you, then it's not going to fly back. If the bird is not at the right flying condition, so I don't like saying flying weight, and we don't starve the birds. It's the same as any animal. You don't want to keep a dog, cat, horse, anything at an incredibly fat weight because it's unhealthy. They're not starved, because if he was starving he wouldn't fly, he wouldn't have the energy to fly, and he'd probably try and attack me and beat me up because he's ravenous. You know, he's kept at that nice healthy balance of fatness and keenness. And it's the same in the wild. The birds of prey, if they don't need to hunt, they're not going to hunt, they're not going to fly. Hang on, Pete. You know, they're not going to hunt, they're not going to fly if they're not hungry, because what's the point in burning energy if you don't need to? So generally, you know, most of the time before we're out of bed, they've caught their breakfast and they're looking for the rest of the food to top them up. So wild birds of prey are incredibly efficient animals, so that's why you often see, especially like buzzards and hawks, just chilling at the sides of roads waiting for an easy meal, because they've had most of their food, but they're not going to turn down a free meal if it's offered to them. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed watching this relaxed walk with Peter, although Peter's not liking the fact I've not given him all the attention. But let us know down in the comments what you think, and we'll see you in the next video.